Welcome to Caffeinated Conspiracies, where mysteries, conspiracies, and the unexplained come to life. Grab your favourite brew and get ready for a mind-bending journey through the extraordinary.
I'm Omer, and
I'm Glen, and together we're your hosts as we sip on curiosity and explore the enigmatic.
In each episode, we'll dive deep into the unknown, unravelling tales of intrigue and shedding light on the secrets that have baffled the world for centuries.
we're not just here to tell you the stories.
We're here to question them, dissect them, and invite you to join the conversation.
So, brew your curiosity, prepare to be captivated, and let's embark on this caffeinated adventure together.
This is Caffeinated Conspiracies.
And we're your guides through the uncharted.
Grab your coffee and let's dive in.
Welcome to Caffeinated Conspiracies, where we dive into the chilling mystery of the Amityville Haunting. Join us as we explore the eerie tales, haunting history, and the lingering questions surrounding the infamous supernatural phenomenon. Get ready for a spine-tingling journey into the heart of the Amityville horror.
Oh man, for the second episode of season 2, and you've done your first full opening. I love that. That was nice. I loved it. So yes, welcome back to Caffeinated Conspiracies, season 2, episode 2. I'm not going to number it on every episode because it is just too much work. This week we have our first guest of season 2. But first off, obviously, I've got Omer with me, who's always on the show. He's done his intro. How's it going, man?
Good. It's getting colder. I'm not. Don't feel like I'm ready for the winter.
I know you're sat there in a dressing gown. I'm sat here in a t-shirt. I think that says a lot about me more than you. Because obviously when this comes out, it's still going to be like peak winter when this episode airs. Well, it's sort of like January, February time. And I mean, as we are recording, we are currently in November, so it is pretty nippy. But I also have, like I say, our first special guest. This special guest is very special to me because it's my niece. And we've got Shannon on the show. Shannon, how's it going?
Hi.
Said it. Hi. Is that all you can say? Let's sack her and bring Dave back.
I'm good. I've got my pepperoni blanket. Life's great.
Don't, because you're going to get our listeners jealous that they can't see this pepperoni blanket. And they will have to go over to TikTok just to see the clip. Maybe even head over to YouTube. We might even put a full clip of this little
Just
intro
imagine being snuggled by a pepperoni pizza.
Oh, don't. It sounds too
I've
good.
also got a jelly bean one.
A jelly bean one as well. Oh,
with
man.
my Trolls cup.
With a troll. I mean, we've all got coffee, which is great. It's good to see. We've got a guest who's brought coffee on. Our last guest in season 1 brought a bottle of water. It's Caffeinated Conspiracies, man. Bring coffee.
This is decaf.
Well, you're not meant to say that out loud. You've just
Had caffeine in it at some point. It counts.
She's just ruined the ambience of the show. But yes, this week we are looking at the Amityville horror, or the haunting. Like I say, it's got lots of different sort of names that surround the show. Now, basically, I'm going to go to Shannon first, as you've been a guest. Just off what you did on your research, or what you've looked into, or what you know, what have you looked at, what have you heard, and what do you know about it?
So basically, I know that the original family, basically the whole idea is that the haunted originated from, this is what most people believe anyway, the whole haunting, or like the horrors that the families endured were because a son in a family had murdered, he had shot every single one of his families, his 2 sisters, his 2 brothers, and both his parents, while they were sleeping in bed. And then after that, he ran out of the house and said, "Oh, my family's all dead. I was possessed."
It's just
That's exactly how he said it.
Oh no, what have I done? what has happened to my beloved family? As you're holding the gun. Who did this? Why has it been done? Yeah.
He claimed that he's possessed, but obviously that didn't exactly hold up in court. Anyway,
I wonder why.
I don't know. But
There's legal
then
precedence behind possession, right?
Yeah. The family who had moved in after had experienced a lot of like ghostly activity and a lot of paranormal activity. And the whole theory was he possessed? Was there actually ghosts? And then like Ed and Lorraine Warren get involved. It's very crazy. It's kind of crazy, actually. Yeah.
I mean, that's a great point, and obviously we've got a lot that we can go into on this, and I think we've chose a real good one for our first supernatural episode. Omer, what about you? What did you come up with? What have you found? Anything that sort of tickled your pickle?
That sounds inappropriate.
Wouldn't be caffeinated conspiracies without something inappropriate.
True. I mean, for this one, I feel like it's a story of two halves, because there's the murder from Ronald DeFeo, the family where he killed all 6 members of his family.
Yeah.
And then there's the story of the Amityville Haunting, which happened after him, in the same house.
Yeah.
To the Lutz family.
Yeah.
So it is a story of two halves. Like, a lot of people have tried to connect the two, and we'll explore that as we go through today.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is two very different stories. Like, people do try to connect one to the other, but they are both interesting stories in themselves.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, I took a deep dive into the whole story of it. So I've got here, 30 miles outside of New York City, nestled in Long Island, town of Amityville, stands the house forever linked with the Amityville horror phenomenon. Now, it all happened on November 13th, 1974. Now, am I or am I not mistaken? What date is today?
November 14th.
So
13th. Why did I say 14th?
So it's November 13th today, and we're doing an episode on Amityville. And this was not planned. It was coincidence that
it was completely planned.
It really wasn't. This is coincidence that we planned this episode today. The episodes we were meant to record weeks ago, but we've had to push it back due to other circumstances. But yeah, on November 13th, 1974, the estate was the scene of the mass murder. Using a .35 Marlin rifle, 23-year-old Ronald J. DeFeo Jr. murdered his entire family while they were asleep, which included his parents and 4 siblings. 13 months later, the Lutz family purchased the home at a drastically reduced price of $80,000, but only lasted 28 days before leaving. I mean, just putting it into perspective, for $80,000, I mean, that in money today would be
inflation.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine how much you would have paid for that.
When was it?
1974. Actually, no, it would have been 1975 they purchased the house.
Well, the last sale of the house, of the Amityville house, was in February 2017, and it was estimated to have gone for $605,000.
Exactly.
It's taken off all of maps now. Like, it's covered on Google Maps.
They've changed the name of the place, haven't they?
Now be worth
Go on.
$500,000.
So it would now be worth $500,000 at what they bought it at $80,000.
I mean, it was recently bought at more than that. So,
It was recently bought at more than that.
Well, I say recently. That was 5 years ago.
That's still quite recent.
6 years ago.
I do apologise. The voice that you hear in the background is our background producer.
Oh, no, you can edit that out.
Can we just call a fact checker?
Fact checker, yeah.
Our disembodied narrator voice when she does.
Yeah, when she records that. That's the voice of our intro. So going into it, stepfather George Lutz had a history of dabbling in the occult. George was said to wake up at 3:15 a.m. every morning, which was around the time Ron carried out the murders. That in itself is a bit creepy.
It's weird.
It's weird, isn't it? I'm not the only one who thinks that's just a little bit weird. I mean, I know, obviously, the more we go into it and there's other things that come to light, but waking up at 3:15... I mean, have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and you've done it like a couple of days in a row, and you've always woken up at the same time and you get a bit freaked out?
This is a phenomenon. So, this is a bit off topic, if that's okay.
Why not? Go
if it
for
relates, it's in.
Shannon's getting a spin-off show.
Yeah. It's going to be called Decaffeinated.
Wait, whoa! Steady on.
Phenomenon that quite a lot of
You'll go on
people
that.
experience.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, Shannon, say that from the beginning again. We missed it because of the laughing.
so there's this phenomenon where quite a lot of people experience where certain numbers will come up a lot in their life, and they'll see it, and every time they see it, they go, "That's weird. I always see that number," but then you forget about it until you see it again. And I know a lot of people that do this. Like every time they look at the phone, you're like, "I bet it's going to be this time," and it is every single time you look. And is our just internal body clocks automated to know what time it is, and our body clocks are just predicted to guess certain times, and we're associated with certain times. Or are we living in a simulation and everything is a mess?
Shannon's going to be on another episode. With stuff like that, she may as well join the show as a host.
It's true though. Like your body gets used to waking up at a certain time, so your body knows what time to wake up. And it's like when you stop setting your alarm for work, and then the following day when you're off work, you wake up at the time.
Well, you wake up completely refreshed, but if you do it the next day, you wake up like, oh,
yeah,
get ready for the day.
Unless you're a B12 deficiency like me, and that means no matter what time you wake up, you're going to be exhausted. So if you don't wake yourself up, you'll just sleep all day.
Sounds good.
Anyway.
Get into it. So, apart from that as well, the Lutz family claimed to smell strange odours, see green slime oozing off the walls and out of keyholes, and experiencing cold spots in certain areas of the house. Don't know about you, but I'd be calling Sam and Dean at this point.
Who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters. Or, if it was Casper, somebody else. When a priest came to bless the house, he allegedly heard a voice scream, "Get out." He told the Lutzes to never sleep in a particular room in the house. If a priest has told you this...
I'd move.
Yeah, well, I would have moved as soon as I started seeing green ooze coming out of the keyholes. I'd be off.
That was...
Danky ghost.
No, because the priest came the day they moved in because parents knew about what happened in the house, kids didn't. So priest was there on moving day. The green ooze and the rest of it happened after.
Yeah. I mean, I just wouldn't have bought a house that someone had been murdered in. I mean,
murder houses are cheap.
Well, I know they're cheap, but I mean, a house where someone's died of natural causes, fine. I'm not too fussed about that. Murder, it's a scene of something gruesome. You know, it's going to play on your mind. Oh my God, people were shot in this house, people were murdered. And I suppose in the adult's mind, they could have gone just through mass hysteria. You know, that your mind starts to play tricks on you. Someone tells you something's haunted, you're going to be looking out for the slightest curtain blowing in the wind. There's a ghost here, we've got to move. You know, your mind's automatically going to go to that. So, I mean, that's just one of my theories, but obviously going further into it, other paranormal activity, a nearby garage door opening and closing, an invisible spirit knocking a knife down in the kitchen, a pig-like creature with red eyes staring down at George and his son Daniel from a window, George waking up his wife levitating off the bed, sons Daniel and Christopher also levitating in their beds. I'm thinking that these people live with kryptons, you know. These people are flying.
Nah, they just swallowed magnets.
Solid magnets.
They're
That's
just
an
floating.
average Friday night for me. I don't know about you.
Just floating off the bed.
There is no Dana, only Zool.
What's up, life? I'm floating. We'll go on with you.
So the couple was so bogged down in legal and financial issues, which prompted skeptics to believe that they'd basically that was motive to create a fantastical story to sell to the public. The Lutz's former lawyer, William Webber, who fell out with them over money issues, came out in 1979 claiming the three of them had come up with the horror story over many bottles of wine when they purchased the house. son Daniel, who lives a quiet life now in Queens, New York, as a stonemason, claims the house ruined his life and that he continues to have nightmares to this day. The murderer, Ron, who's as the time I took the information, I'm not sure where I got my info from because I didn't double check this one, which I do apologise, is currently still alive, I believe, serving... Oh, is he dead now?
He died on March 12th.
March
He's in
12th.
a
What, this year?
psychiatric prison
No,
unit.
2021.
Oh, 2021. Sorry, so my information was a little bit out then. But he was serving 6 25-year life sentences at New York Correctional Facility. He claimed he heard voices urging him to kill his family. He has since charged... He has since changed his story multiple times. Mm-hmm. Now, the Amityville house officially sold February, I've got the information here actually, Omer. It said February 2017 to an undisclosed owner for $605,000, which was $20,000 less than the original asking price. It had been previously
less.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, 200,000. Yes.
200,000. That was it.
Yeah. It was. It had previously been owned by 4 other families since the murder, one of which had the address changed to 108 Ocean Avenue. The original house, or the original address, was 112 Ocean Avenue. So that's just like the whole story, sort of. I know it's quite long-winded and we sort of went off track a little bit, but that's sort of like the main gist of everything. And I mean, from that, without going into any of your theories or discussing anything that we want to look at, what do you guys think? Do you think there was something involved? Shannon, yourself first?
So, from a lot of things that I've seen, and again, I'm not really sure how true it is, the original family that I can't remember the name of.
What, the original family that lived there?
The Lutz's family, the
original family that were murdered. DeFeo
family.
Willem Dafoe's house.
There was no William, surprisingly.
I know.
So before the hauntings or anything even happened, the father of the family had placed a lot of religious statues around the house and around the garden that are still there. They were still there when the Lutzes moved in. And a lot of sources say that he flew priests out from different countries because he thought that the house was haunted. That could just be because he was paranoid and he, wanted to be a part of the occult. It could have been the experience, something. And there's also other sources, like when just before the murder happened, there's a police officer that was sat outside because the family was under investigation because they're a bit gangsterish. And a police officer reports...
Is that an official word,
yeah.
Gangster-ish?
Yeah. I don't know. The police
You're
officer
meant to be the smart one.
I am! Shut up! The police officer reported seeing a woman wearing a black cloak walk into the house, and he assumed it was one of the sisters that lived there, one of the young girls or the mother, but no one can confirm or deny this. And then later, the murderer of the man who killed all of his family reported seeing premonitions of a woman in a black cloak. So it's kind of weird. And also with the fact that the Lutzes might have made it up, I don't see the point. Because if they're already in financial debt, surely having to up and move the house after 28 days would just be worse. That's
a good point, actually, that you mentioned that, because even then, I don't think it was as easy of getting a deposit together in the matter of 2 or 3 days for a house, especially when you've just dropped $80,000 on a house, and you've been there for 28 days. You're going to have already started decorating. You're going to have already have bought new furniture. You're going to have already have moved your kids out of wherever you were, so that's going to cost you money as well. I mean, there's a lot involved in the cost of moving house. It's not just the fact you get a house, oh great, we don't have to spend any more money now, we've got no, you've still got to pay for transport, you've got to pay for removal companies and decorating and things like that. So even if they had say they had $150,000 and they've purchased the house for 80, then you've got, that's not including sort of like your lawyer's fees and things like that, which obviously they had a falling out with their lawyer in regards to money. They've then had to buy new appliances if the house hasn't already got any, if you didn't already have some, and then a few other things. So, I mean, I kind of like the idea of that one.
You're forgetting the entrance of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as they came in, they took over all the rights to the story. So they're already known for the occult stuff and dealing with, like, you know, hauntings and exorcisms, all of this. Them selling the story means they must have bought the rights off the family.
Must have.
Or give the family something. So moving again at a cheaper cost, because the Warrens have given you money that they have not disclosed to anyone, would make sense on getting out of that debt that they were in.
Yeah.
That's...
You know what, when you put all that together, I don't think it's going to be as easy as just sort of making up a story and up and then leaving. Especially if someone's seen stuff previously. But then again, we don't know what's happened in that house after. Maybe they don't want to talk about it because they know what's going on, and obviously they don't want the drama of people come in. And I mean, it has made many films, and it's even had like remakes that have not been very good. Let's face it. What's that, babe? Yeah, Ryan Reynolds was in one of them, wasn't he? He was in the remake. Didn't he?
So many of them I don't think I've seen.
I think he played George Lutz.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he played the stepdad of the new family when they moved in. But, I mean, I've always remembered, even as a kid, and, you know, you hear about the Amityville film, especially the original, I've always been made to believe that it was, like, just as scary as, like, Poltergeist and stuff like that. And you watch it, and you're just sort of like... But if you take into consideration that maybe these people made it up, then this is just all basically a case of mass delusion. You know, they're coming up with an idea just to sort of make money because, you know, maybe they are in debt. They've spent their life savings on this house and they're like, right, we need to make some more money now. And I don't want to work. I know, let's make the story that we've bought a murder house. Let's tell everybody it's haunted. But surely they'd need some sort of proof.
I mean, that wouldn't be too hard considering there was theories of carbon monoxide poisoning in the house.
Yeah.
There was psychological trauma due to the abuse. Like at that time, like beating children wasn't that big, but it was happening. So like the kids could have easily like gone through psychotic breaks to believe what the parents were telling them. And then George Lutz was heavily fascinated in the occult, so he'd know what to say and what to do to make it believable.
Suppose so. I mean, like Shannon said before as well, the statues around the garden and things like that around the property. I mean, if they were still there when they moved in, I mean, let's face it, garden ornaments already look freaky on the best of days. Even like a bright, colourful gnome freaks me out. But, I mean, like, proper statues of angels and stuff like that are religious objects. It's going to look creepy and eerie. And as a kid...
Have you never seen Doctor Who?
Yes. I traumatised you with Doctor Who.
You did traumatise you with Doctor Who.
I did, yes. I did traumatise you with Doctor
That
Who.
was long after Amityville. Maybe it was, you know, inspired by
It's all
Amityville.
connected.
It's all connected.
Shannon, I am George Lutz.
Oh God! we actually found out that
His occult history.
our season 1 episodes all sort of looped around, and we didn't even realise until we recorded the very last episode. Maybe all these episodes are tied in. Although I don't know how the Amityville ties in with Mothman. I mean, it's just sort of he's become a bit of a running joke on the show now.
That some people claim they've seen, but it's never been confirmed.
Yeah.
Hooded lady going in. Maybe that was Mothman.
Maybe.
Mothman.
Mothman. That's who we're saying it is. Mothman is the reason that there's an Amityville.
That's our new connecting thread. Mothman.
Every episode is now going to be. It was Mothman. That's our theory. It was Mothman.
You know, it was Agatha all along, but it was Mothman.
What we are going to do at this point, we are going to take a very quick break.
And welcome back to the Mothman episode. Wait, no, wrong one.
We've come back to season 1.
We've come back to the Amityville Haunting. Woo! Yeah, that's always like a good thing, add excitement to it. It's not so bad.
Excitement to it. Yeah.
I mean, come on. This is a family who almost gained superpowers. I mean, the levitation.
Good point. Very good point. I mean, let's just put it out there, and it's one for our listeners, and there might be some ridicule for this one, but Omer, have you ever seen a ghost?
No.
That you're aware of?
I mean, seeing a ghost is sort of a thing. Like, if they're meant to be invisible, how do I see one?
Very true, but...
Have you ever felt the presence of a ghost is a different question.
Yeah, all right. Have you, when you've been somewhere, have you ever felt the presence of something in that room with you?
Yes, but I don't think it would be like a... It's because I know, like... So I've been around, like, people who have died, and I've been in places where people have died, and going into that place after they've gone away, I don't know whether it's because I knew they died in there,
Yeah.
that I felt something, or it was a spirit or a ghost. So I couldn't say it was or wasn't a ghost, but I knew somebody had died there before.
Yeah.
So it's like, could have just been my own mind playing tricks on me. I never walked into somewhere that I'd had no idea that somebody had died, and then felt something, then found out somebody died in there.
Yeah.
So
You've just had the feeling, you've not seen anything.
Yeah, but it could just be because I knew somebody had died in there before.
No, I get that. Which obviously is what we said about the houses, where these people just sort of having that mass delusion that they feel that something was there because they know what happened. Shannon, what about yourself? Same question for you.
You know I've seen a ghost.
Well,
but our listeners don't.
Do our
so
listeners
share.
know?
I have seen multiple ghosts. I believe in ghosts. I know ghosts are real. I don't take any criticism for my beliefs because I know they're real. And I feel like I've been through, like, do you know when they say, like, 1 time's just an accident, 2 times a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern?
Yeah.
It's been more than 3 times. Like,
That's called stalking.
That's called a haunting.
Yeah.
I say stalking, Omer says haunting.
Well, if it's ghosts, it's a haunting, right?
I've just had too many experiences, and I've heard too many stories from people that I trust as well to not believe. And I have seen them, especially when I was younger. Not recent. I don't walk down the street and be like, "Oh, what's up, ghost?" But like,
just high-fiving Casper in the street.
Yeah.
Just people walking by, just see Shannon jump into the air and high five something that's invisible.
It's just like, hi guys. No, but like when I was younger, as my uncle will know, I have a very extensive history with seeing ghosts. Mm-hmm. Some people say imaginary friend, but with the facts behind it, it's kind of like
for the age you were, and the information that
and the things that I was saying,
the things you were saying, the things that we looked up and found, which were true, is quite scary. But even saying for myself,
don't be scared of me though.
Even saying for myself,
Shannon is not a ghost; she just sees them.
Yeah, I spoke to a medium about things like this, and they just said people are more empathic, and I am a very emotional person. If someone is crying near me, I will cry. Like, and I just feel
if someone
like
cries near me, I try and walk away.
It's like, because it happened to me from such a young age, and I wasn't scared of it. I'm more open to things. Like I'll still see things every now and then that I know is a ghost, but I'm not scared of it.
Yeah.
It's demons that I'm scared of, not ghosts.
Well, you're in the wrong family for demons. Family's full of them. I'm the same as a kid. You know, I had imaginary friends that I believe were imaginary friends, and obviously there was things that came out that, you know, they possibly could have been ghosts, especially with sort of the names I was coming. Like, I had one called Ivan. I was like 2.
Surname Ooze.
This is well before Power Rangers, man. This is well before. I was like 2. I mean, but I had a friend called, I think it was either Ivan or Hyman. Ivan.
Do you know what hymen is?
Yeah, I know what a hymen is. It was. I know,
It was his imaginary friend. What are you talking about?
I've got giggling in the background here, you know. It was something like Ivan or Iman, or something like that. And my mum looked up the name, and apparently there was like a rabbi who lived nearby, like many years ago, who had died, and that was his name. And apparently I was
Jewish.
Yeah, that didn't help. But
Yep.
I mean, I was seeing this guy, I believe was an imaginary friend. But at the same time, I remember this one evening where we used to live. This was Shannon. This was before you were born. I used to live in a little village, and this one evening, me and my mate were camping in his back garden. We were only young. We weren't really allowed to go camping elsewhere. Mum wouldn't let us. But obviously his mum and dad had gone to bed, and we'd snuck out onto. We had like a big grass pit, like pitch, in the middle of like a little the town. So we just went and sat on there, just me and him. Middle of the night, it was dead quiet, and we saw a little Victorian boy come running out from the behind my house, across the road and into someone else's house and disappear. And it freaked me out, and that's probably the only time I've ever seen something. And when Omer, when you said you felt a presence before, I was the same, but I didn't know something was in the house. Now, I was told that the house was haunted, and I didn't believe it. You know, this was at the time I was still a lot younger. We were in college at the time. I was still very skeptical about things, and that quite a few different things had happened in this house. And we found out that it used to belong to the guy who owned the chippy next door. But it weren't the same people that owned it now. And what had happened is, this was at a time when mental health issues weren't really looked upon or helped with, and the only answer was to lock these people away. And the guy literally locked his wife in the basement, and she would scratch at the walls to get out, and one day she ran at the wall with her head down and snapped her neck and died. And people think she was buried in the back garden because the back garden was uneven and they'd cemented over it when it used to have grass. Obviously, we never chipped it up. We didn't want to open that can of worms. However, a few
woman worms.
A few different
bones.
There was a lot. Yeah, a few things happened in this house. Some I weren't around for, so I didn't know that they'd happened, but I was told stories. One of them was I came home from college one day and all my boxes from under my bed had been pulled out. And all my books that were in these boxes had been put on my bed and all opened at the same page. And I went mental thinking it was my sisters had been into my room. Well, I was at college and my mum was at work, and I was literally kicking off. I was ready to kick off. To the point that my mum said, "Look, no one's been home. Only me and you have got a key, and your sisters haven't come home from school yet. You're the only one here. You've only been the one here since this morning." So I was like, "Well, what are you trying to say?" She went, "I think there's something in the house." So I said, "Like what? A tree?" "No, I think there's a spirit in the house." And from that point, things started to click. Like, I'd be sat in the front room and the dog was at the bottom of the stairs, looking at the top of the stairs where my bedroom door was, and just barking, like viciously, like fur on end and everything, and like edging around and on edge, ready to sort of attack, but too scared to go. To the point I freaked out. I put the lead on the dog, took the dog outside, and we sat outside in the rain until people come home because I didn't want to be in the house. I had one friend stay over, and he said to me, he went, "Mate," it was in the middle of the night, I was asleep in my bed, he was on the floor, and he come into my room and woke me, because he'd gone to the toilet, come back, woke me up and was like, "Mate, there's a woman in your bath." I was like, you what? He was like, "There's a random woman in your bath."
Was that not just Margaret?
No. So I follow. So me and him go to the bathroom. Right, the bath is bone dry, but there is wet footprints going down the stairs to the basement, which is where my sister's bedroom was. Absolutely. So my sisters shared the basement bedroom, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" I ain't going down there. I know they're in there, but I don't want to knock on the door to tell them someone's come out of the bath and gone into their room. Because I do not, again, want to open that can of worms. That
Be
was
a weird
not...
knock at the door. It's like, dug, dug, dug. Do you have any wet patches?
Have you seen any soaking wet women around here?
Yeah. Another one was we'd been away or something. I think we were on holiday, and we come back, and at the time we had someone who come in and helped clean the house because Mum worked all the time and we were always out, and obviously we're teenagers, we ain't gonna clean. And no, I do clean a little bit. So we come back off this holiday, and it had pretty much been raining the entire time we were gone. And the cleaner turned around to my mum and said, "While you were away, I didn't know what you wanted to do with all the leaves in your bed, so I just left them." Our mum was like, "What?" We went into my mum's room, and there was a pile of leaves on the bed that were dry. Just randomly, a pile of leaves. Why? Where has this pile of leaves come from? And the other one, when I said I felt a presence, I was asleep in my bed one night, and you know, like when you can feel somebody watching you? I could feel that, but it's not like they were at the side of me. They were above me. And I kept my eyes shut. Like when you were a kid and you were scared of something, you shut your eyes dead tight and you kept them shut. That's exactly what it was like. I could feel this thing above me, and I didn't want to open my eyes. I just sort of slowly lifted my quilt up and put my head under the quilt. And it wasn't long after that we moved out. And that house still freaks me out to this day. So I sort of do believe, in regards to this, that there may have been something in this house.
There what? There must have been. Like, I don't think things happen. Like, yeah, coincidences happen, but nothing like that.
No.
And like the stuff that I've seen, can I quickly share a bit about what I've like experienced?
Go ahead.
So from being very young, and I'm talking like 2, 3, 4, I had an imaginary friend called Lapsy, and he used to freak everyone out.
Yeah, it did.
I know, you can speak. And when I tell people, no, like I could see her, like she looked like a normal person to me. It wasn't like an imaginary friend. I saw her as a normal person, dressed in like old, like, do you know when you went into like school as like a refugee in a little costume? That's like what she was dressed as. Do you like a little?
That's
like...
how Omer lives his life, like a refugee, don't you?
Yeah.
Still in Camp Refugi.
Go on, Shannon. Sorry for interrupting.
It's okay. So, yeah, I'd see this little girl, and obviously I don't remember because I was so young, but I remember seeing her, but I don't remember this exact conversation.
Yeah.
One day I turned to my mum and I said, "Mum, I feel really sorry for Latsy." And she said, "Why?" She said, and I came up with, "Oh, because she got blown up in the park in the war." And I was about 4, right? No kid comes up with this.
No.
So my mum Googled it, and it was the last name of a little girl that got killed in a bombing attack during the World War. Bit weird. There's no way I could have accessed this information.
No.
And I've had a lot of experience since, especially in my old house. So I had the conservatory bedroom, and there was windows all around. So it was pretty spooky anyway at night. And I will say that. But one night I was doing you trying to get to sleep, but you can't because you just feel bothered.
Yeah, like agitated and you just can't sleep. Yeah.
I will say this story's a bit not PG. It's a bit gruesome.
We love stuff like that on this show.
No one believes me when I say this, but I will swear down, like on everyone that I know's life, that this actually did happen. So I just felt like
this is where Omer drops dead now.
Yeah.
It's all right. My camera hasn't gone buggy yet.
That's a good point. All last week it was going off all funny, and this week it's been fine. I'm kind of worried now.
But yeah, I just felt like something was off in my bedroom. Do you know when the air feels like thicker than it should? And I couldn't breathe, and like my neck started aching really bad, like I was being choked. So I like sat up because I felt like I was being strangled, and looked, and I saw not like a physical thing, but like a glazy image. Like it didn't look physically there, but it was in my head, kind of thing,
Yeah.
of a woman hanging from the ceiling in a white dress, and she was covered in blood. And I don't know the history behind the house. I don't know if anything had happened, but from then on, every single time I was trying to go to sleep in my room, if I'd open my eyes when I was trying to go to sleep, I'd see white fabric brush across my eyes.
It's the woman in white.
Yeah, but
That's a different episode.
That is very yes. That's gonna be. We have to bring that one up on the La Llorona.
But yeah, and like I remember my family members told me that I used to see a little ginger boy that would chase me. And a big one that I always remember is, so where some of my family live, it looks out to where the Moors murders happened. If you look out of some of the bedroom windows, you can see the moors where some of the children were buried. And I'd see children run across it. And I remember seeing them. Like, I wasn't even that young, I was about 10, 11, 12. And I'd turn to my Nana, I'd be like, Nana, what are those kids doing? It's like nighttime, it's cold, why are they running across there? And she'd look and be like, Shannon, there's no kids there. So
that's a bit creepy.
Yeah. But I'd see kids like running after each other and just playing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
that's why I believe ghosts.
Sort of bringing it back to the Amityville. I mean, Omer, going off sort of what we've said and what you've experienced yourself, what do you think? Do you think that there was something there, or do you reckon that were they just making up a story?
It's weird. So I'm skeptical heavily.
Which is why I have you. Which is why I like having you on the show, Omer. Which is why I like doing the show with you.
Like, a lot of what they say happened, so given the history of George Lutz's sort of occult knowledge, because he looked into it, and as I mentioned at the top of the episode, like, it's two stories. There's the murder that happened before they moved in, and then what happened to them when they moved in. If I was going to believe any of it, I would believe the house was never haunted. It was George Lutz. He's the one who's probably messed with something that he shouldn't have.
Okay.
And that's why the house after they left wasn't haunted.
Yeah.
Because nobody reported anything afterwards. A lot of the families that moved in sort of refused to give any statements or anything, but they were there for a while. It's not like they were only in there for 30 days an hour again.
Yeah.
But given everything, I'm still the skeptic to say a lot of it was probably made up.
Have you seen the picture of the ghost little boy taken at the house?
I have.
And it's the same little boy that lived from the... Yeah.
That's what sort of gets me, like, it couldn't be. But I don't believe, like, given the history of the two incidences, that they are connected. Because, yes, somebody died in the house and their spirit probably lingers. But the family that was killed, the DeFeo family, like, they wouldn't leave behind a malevolent spirit like the Lutzes experienced. It would have been something different. It would have been haunting of the truth of what happened to them, because the way the murder happened, there's no way that what's his name, Butch DeFeo, sort of, there's no chance he could have done that alone. What is that? Yeah. 8 gunshots and nobody heard it and everyone was asleep.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was, when you think about it, you're going to hear a gunshot. You can't go through that many bedrooms shooting people and nobody hear it.
Both the parents were shot twice, and then each of the siblings were shot once, all in the head, all while they were asleep.
Yeah.
DeFeo came out and said he drugged them, but when the autopsies were done, there was no drugs found in any of their systems.
Like I said at the start as well, his story changed so much over the years. He constantly changed what had happened. So maybe you're right, maybe there was a second person who was there with him.
Couldn't have been 2. More. 3 minimum.
3 minimum.
You're talking 6 people stayed asleep while the gunshots happened, right?
Good point, yeah.
If you had 3 people shoot 2 people, so first shot, dead, and you all did it in unison, that would keep everyone asleep without any drugs.
Okay.
But I was more interested on the haunting side, given Shannon's experience, how much she believes Amityville was true or not. The haunting, not the murder.
Well, before we do ask her that, what we'll do is we'll go through the theories and obviously what we believe. And what we do, Shannon, because you've not seen it on the show yet, because it is quite new to season 2, we have a theory, we discuss it, and then we rate it on a scale of 1 to 5 for believability. So, Omer, do you want to ask the question again?
No? So, shit. We got to go through the theories, but, like, theory on whether the haunting was true or not. What is your overall opinion of it? Like, what would you give it out of a 5? How strongly do you believe it?
See, because I don't know if it was a haunting. See, it's hard to say because it is two very different stories.
Yeah.
It is, the DeFeos and then the Lutz family. I think a lot of what the Lutz family experienced was brought on by George encouraging spirits to come out. I do think it was a haunting. Do I think that the original killer was possessed? I actually do.
Okay.
And I have a lot of reason behind this.
All right.
So, the son that killed his
Omer,
parents,
get comfy. We're about to get schooled here, man.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
So, the boy who had killed his parents and his family, he never got along with his father, but he loved his mum more than anything. He would die for his mum. And many reports say this. He loved his mother. He would never hurt his mother. He would stand up for his mother to his father. So I don't understand. Some people say there was drug interventions. He was high, but I don't know about you. But if you love someone so much, no matter under what conditions you are, you're not going to kill them. I don't see, one, how he could have killed them. 2, how he could have not warned anyone about the sounds with the gunshots, and how the police, if he did have help, how the police officer that was sat outside didn't see anyone go in or out of the house.
Good point.
I don't think it's physically possible for someone to kill that many people in such a way, and no one, the neighbors didn't even hear a thing. It's not possible. And the gun there's one gun found. It didn't have a silencer on it. It was just a gun by itself. People would have heard the
hunting rifles,
so
it's not a quiet gun at
no,
that. It's a hunting
gun.
rifle.
Yeah, exactly.
And someone would have heard it unless there are some kind of supernatural interventions. So I'm going to rate that like a 3.5, 4 out of 10, out of 5.
Yeah. Oh, 10? Jesus.
Yeah.
She's breaking the scale on this one.
Oh,
going
Jesus.
higher.
Yeah.
That's just going way off.
With the look, I think some of the things that they experienced were true, but I also think because they were so scared, they were making themselves see things. Like, there was that picture taken of the ghost boy, which I do fully believe. People have tried to debunk that picture, they can't. It's one of the clearest, it is probably the clearest supernatural picture we've ever taken of ghost. And there's just too many weird coincidences that happen in that house. But slime oozing from the floors and the key, I just don't see that as a thing. I do think there's some kind of malevolent spirit as well as the family in that house. Do I think that there's goo oozing from the floors? No. So I feel like they've heard the story, they've got scared, they've seen a couple of things, and then thought, I'm really scared. No, you freak yourself out, don't you?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it like a 3 out of 5. But yeah.
Okay.
So the green ooze was just somebody clearing out their nose from a lot of phlegm.
I think they just, if it was real, I think they just imagined it. That's a bit too unbelievable. And I believe in a lot. Like I said, I think he genuinely was possessed by some kind of demonic force in that house. But
Okay.
do I think that there was green ooze coming out of everywhere? No, because I only believe what I have seen, and I haven't seen. If I see green ooze flowing out of my windows and doors tonight. More fuel me. But let's hope
Get
that
the
doesn't
salt.
happen.
Get the salt.
Let's hope that doesn't happen because I'm burning it to the ground with everyone in it. So
I've seen Evil Dead. You burn everything.
Going off a few more of the theories here, then, and like I say, we'll scale it all together. So let's just go with the ones that we've got. Is that the whole thing was made up for profit? Now, like I say, Shannon, even though you've said about the believability of what you believe, this is just going off this. Like I say, this has no merit. You know, we as we've said on every episode, we're not experts. We're not ufologists. We're not scientists. We are just like-minded individuals who love this sort of thing. So our scoring of these theories is down to our personal preference on what we believe and and if we like it or not. Like we did last week, me and Omer had a theory that we actually really enjoyed and we thought was fun, and we scored it quite high just on the fact that it was a fun theory. So let's look at the whole thing was made up for profit. Now, on the Lutz's side, for me, I sort of, again, I'm like you, Omer. I've got that skeptical side of me, but I've also got that side that's, you know, a big believer in these things as well. And for me, I'm sort of, with this profit thing, I'm smack bang in the middle, and I want to give it a 3 because I think it's on the fence. It can go either way. There are bits of me that believe that there was something else happening, but also I know what we are like as human beings, and some people will just sort of see something and think of it as a cash cow. So I'm on the fence with that one. Omer, what about you?
Oh, the for-profit theory. I'm strongly with that one. Like, a lot of it fills in too many gaps in the story to say it's got to be true. There's like too much that proves it than disproves it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're talking, especially with George Lutz's interest in the occult, and then the bringing in of the Warrens, like, you could have easily like passed that off as a believable story, which it was and has spawned many like media remakes, like the Amityville Horror House. Like, it's made a lot of money just the idea alone. So if you're telling me that's not for profit, then there's something wrong somewhere. So definitely a 4 out of 5 on the for-profit idea for me. But, like, to say something didn't happen would also be like calling. That's why I can't give it the full 5 to say it's the official story.
Well, we'll go through more of it.
Yeah, because something probably did happen and then they've played on it heavily. I say yes. So 4 out of 5 for the for-profit idea.
Shannon, what about you?
See, there's too many factors to consider. Like, maybe they did do it for profit and they sold the rights to the Warrens, or maybe something actually did happen and they just wanted the Warrens to go and see what was going on to see if it was safe for them to even live there after they spent so much money on it. But the ghost lover that I am wants to believe that something did actually happen. So for me to rate it highly would mean that I'm like, it's just not fun. You know, it's given into like human, like, horribleness.
Admitting that humans are just pieces of shit, basically, and they've just gone for it
I
because
know
they want the
we
money.
all are, but... So I'm gonna give it like a 2.5 because I don't like it.
I mean,
So
Slipknot
it
already
didn't
agree with
happen.
you. People equal shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's look at the fact that the house, there was demonic entities in the house from the get-go, from the whole murder to the Lutzes moving in and whatever family's there now. Omer, what do you believe on that? That there's some supernatural being there or presence?
If we're going to agree, like, supernatural exists, for one, because people died in the house, saying there is a presence there could not be said no, because somebody's died there, their presence is lingering behind. Saying it's demonic, I don't think so. Given that Butch DeFeo didn't live in the house when he killed the family. Can't say it was the house that. So what? Something must have possessed him beforehand to take him into the house to then kill the family.
Okay.
He wasn't living there at the time, so what made him go over? And then obviously the events of the Lutz family happened when they moved in and stopped when they moved out. So I don't feel like the house has any demonic or possessive abilities because it's two incidences and neither of them started from within the house. They started with the people.
Yeah.
So that one is a 1 out of 5 for me. I don't think the house is like got some malevolent spirit ever in it.
Okay. Shannon, what about you?
So, are you talking the house is possessed by a demon, or was demonic present involved? Like, what's the exact question?
Yeah, I'd say that there was something supernatural about the whole thing.
Okay,
The house.
so I don't think the house itself. See, it's hard because I'm of the belief that you're not going to get haunted and you're not going to get possessed unless you open yourself up to it. You have to believe in those kind of things. If you don't believe in ghosts, you're not going to see them. If you don't believe in demons, you're not going to have demonic experiences. You know, it's that kind of thing because they feed off that kind of energy. I think that both families believed in the supernatural, they believed in demons, they believed in ghosts. So that's why demonic things happened to them. If they didn't, I don't think they would have happened. So yeah, I do think there was demons present, but I think they brought it upon themselves for believing in it and like feeding into it. Both families did.
So on a scale of 1 to 5?
Probably like a 3.5.
Okay. We don't usually do halves, but we'll let it go. You're a guest.
What's wrong with halves?
Give Shannon the halves. We'll make it a guest special. They get the 0.5s.
Are you halfist?
We are halfists. For me, I am very much in the sense that I like this idea, and I do like what's come from it in the fact of movie wise and sort of pop culture wise. Being a fan of pop culture and sort of looking at the TV shows that I enjoy and the films I enjoy, I think it has helped sort of stem the horror movie genre in a way. But I think that's all it is, and that's the skeptical side of me talking there. I do think it has just been a whole farce of make-believe. I do believe that, you know, there's other theories that I want to go through as well that seem more plausible to me. And as much as I like it, and as much as I want to believe that this place is haunted, and there is something there, and there was a demonic presence, and he was possessed, and he did shoot them, I you know, that side of me really wants to give it a 5. But unfortunately, on this one, my skeptical side is winning, and I do sort of want to give it a low score of a 2. There's bits I like about it, but at the same time, there's bits that just don't add up for me. Now, going on to another theory, which is sort of where I'm leaning more towards without sort of giving anything away, is, as you said, as we've said on the episode, we've all said it as well, is because they knew something had happened there, they fell sort of into a trap of their own mind playing tricks on them. So Omer, how do you feel about the fact that they were all just sort of like a mass hysteria that they've all going through in the house together as a family because they know what happened there?
The mass hysteria I like because it gives a scientific explanation to it. So for me, being the skeptic, like that one I like. My issue with the mass hysteria one is mass hysteria only works to a point till others got introduced. because they had the family, like they had a worker who came in and recommended the Warrens to them. The Warrens were in on it. And then the mass hysteria works if you have some vague knowledge of the incidents. So if me and you have vague knowledge of a murder that happened in the house, we go in, hysteria can kick in, and we can both start seeing things. Shannon's in that same house, has no idea of anything before. The mass hysteria wouldn't click in unless it would start with us and then she would pick it up. But one of the first instances of walking in the house and feeling the spirit or something wrong was the son Daniel.
Yeah.
Who had no idea there was a murder in the house before. So I like the hysteria idea, but there's too much around it that says there's something else involved. So unless George told Daniel about, oh, we're moving into a murder house, trying to get him excited, which I don't imagine he did.
We're moving house. We found a new place. It's beautiful. It's got 5 bedrooms, blood on the floor from where the people died.
6 beds with holes in them.
Check out these sconces.
You would move Lizzie and the kids into a murder house, wouldn't you?
Check the dildo rail on the wall.
And then it was, well, the priest would have known about the murder, hence the reason he showed up on day of moving. But then it was Daniel who reported the first, spiritual feeling, which means, mass hysteria should have started with the parents and the ones who knew, and then trickled down to the kids, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So, mass hysteria, as much as I like, unless there was another factor, like I mentioned, there was one idea of possible carbon monoxide poisoning within the house, which was fixed after they moved out. Beyond that, it's too loose of a description. There's more to it. So the theory for me, sort of, as much as I don't want to, it'd be a 2 out of 5.
Okay. Shannon, what about you?
So I do think that it was partly due to, the hysteria, because they knew something had happened. But I do think some weird, wacky,
juju was going on.
Yeah, something went down in that house.
Shit got real.
Yeah. But it's because I believe so much in the possession side that I do believe he was possessed. It's hard to believe that it was fully hysteria. There must have been some lingering, demonic feeling. Even if it's just an eerie feeling, that would be enough for me to be creeped out and then start freaking out.
Yeah.
So I do think it was partly, partly them just freaking themselves out, partly actually some weird stuff going on. So I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay, that's
no
quite
point.
high.
No and a half.
No 3.5. All right.
Solid 3 on that one.
I'm gonna start doing a 3.141592653589.
You can't give it pie.
I'm gonna give it pie.
For me, I like this idea. I like the fact that they've shared in a delusion together.
Family that has delusions together
stays together. Yeah, exactly. My sentiment exactly. Maybe they all just dropped shrooms one day and just sort of started tripping balls or something.
Dad just left a can of nos
Dad was just smoking some really good ganja in the back, and
they might have just had a busted ganja fat. They must have had a busted grow in the. That was what the basement was, because the basement's supposed to be really haunted. It was just a grow that got busted, and now they're all high forever.
I like this idea. And the more I read about it, I really enjoyed it. And obviously, I know that, there are bits that still don't add up. The picture, like you say, but again, as a person who can do Photoshop, it's not that hard. And even camera trickery doesn't matter, right? Because the very first edited picture was Abraham Lincoln's head on somebody else's body. Is the first doctored photo that we know of. So it's not impossible. It could have easily been done with editing techniques and the way the camera, the way the picture was taken. It is plausible that it could have happened, and it could just have been so good that they can't determine whether it's fake or not.
But I don't like the idea, and I have to be right.
But for me, I want to give it a 4, a solid 4. I like the idea. I do think, yeah, it's got a few plot holes, but what doesn't have plot holes that we have to sort of believe is that.
Wait, so you were giving it 4 because you like the idea, or you think it's the most believable?
Bit of both. I like it, and I
Okay.
think it's most believable. Now, Omer, going off the theory that you had that there was more than one person, I like that. That I really like that, because that could bring so much to it that would sort of change the whole course of this story altogether.
That one actually had something that I just read in my notes, which I've realised we didn't mention. The theory of the multiple people was one of the theories that I read was the main murderer was actually Dawn DeFeo. I'm still going to say Defoe. Sorry, William Defoe.
That's the sister, isn't it?
He's-
The sister.
Yeah, the eldest sister, because she was looking to leave the house, and apparently the dad was very abusive and angry all the time. She wanted to leave and flee with her boyfriend to Florida, and not long before they all died, she had written a song entitled "The Night the DeFeos Died."
Oh,
So the theory
that opens up a whole new thing, doesn't it?
So the theory from that stands. She wanted to run away from the boyfriend, couldn't get away without the family. She's the one who actually killed most of the family, and then when Ronnie showed up to the house, she'd already killed them. So he was just horrified, and that's where his possession kicks in, because then he kills her. And then instead of admitting she did it, he takes on all the blame because he's, as Shannon mentioned, he loved his sister and his family. His mum, not his dad. But he didn't want the
No one likes
sister's
the dad.
name to be ruined. So he just took the blame for everything.
I like that.
So he wasn't alone. She was there as well. But he killed her just to sort of round it off and take the blame.
I like that. That is really good. That'd be a nice way if it, well, not nice, but that would be like, that'd sort of like make it all complete for their side of the story. But I suppose with him dead now, we'd never actually get the truth as to what
all right.
happened.
It gets better
Go on.
because on the initial police report, it said there was no struggle. Then there was another one released that said possible struggle with the mother and Dawn. So if you assume he killed Dawn and she was awake, yes, there could have been a possible struggle. And then the other leading evidence into it is in that county at the time, police convictions based on interrogations was the highest in the United States.
Right.
So to give you an idea, neighboring states had conviction rates of 20 to 30% based on interrogation.
Yeah.
The state that they interrogated him had an 80% conviction rate.
Jeez.
So there's a strong idea that police knew there was a second killer, and instead of doing the extra work, get an easy ride out, you just scapegoat Ronnie into all of it by interrogating him to the point where he says he did everything. You now know don't have to chase anyone else or investigate anything else. Case closed. Your job's done.
I do have to ask you though, Omer. Seems to be that on quite a lot of these episodes, you have police reports for these. Is there something you need to tell me? Because you managed to get hold of police reports from Jack the Ripper. You've got police reports for this. You got police reports for Roswell. Where are you getting? I've not been able to find these. Can you explain to me where you're getting them from?
Just other people's research, and they come up online. I think most of the research I do is through Google Scholar, so you get actual direct links to stuff.
Oh, all right. Look at Snazzy Pants here. All
But
right.
I feel like the murder side of stuff I'm more interested in than the actual phenomenon side of stuff, like the supernatural. So
Yeah.
I do dive into that side a lot more. I spent most of my research doing finding out about Ronald DeFeo more than I did the Lutz family.
So I think this week then we've got sort of like a bit of a split. You know, we've got Omer, who believes very much in the murder side, Shannon, who believes very much on the supernatural side, and then there is literally me sat in the middle. I'm on the fence because I can go either way. I like both ideas. I think
That's what you're famous for.
Shut up. I think there's something on either side that that sort of sways me to both sides, but I can't quite pick which one I enjoy the most and which one I find believable. Now, going off what we usually do, Omer, if you could find out the truth, would you want to know?
I think, and I agree with Shannon, what she said earlier, like the mystery around the haunting of Amityville, like everything it's spun off is so much fun. Like I've seen quite a fair few versions of the movies and they're still fun to watch. Like there are some really good ones out there. So the fact that has spun off into so much more, and I always enjoy the stories that come from things and the actual things. That's awesome. Have we lost Shannon? Nope.
Hello.
Back.
Hello.
I was
Nope.
frozen for ages. I tried to message her. Yeah, I couldn't say anything, and I couldn't hear you or see you.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I was just saying that we're coming to the end of it, so we were just saying that where we fall on it, it's like a nice split over everything. You've got Omer, who is on the skeptical side, who believes in the whole, it was just literally just murder and for profit. And then you've got you, who does like the idea of the supernatural side of it all, and then there's me, who sat on the fence, who could go either way. I like both sides of the story. I think they've both got a lot to go for, and maybe it was a mixture of all three. So it's been a nice little mix and a great way to sort of start wrapping up this week's episode. So I mean, I like the idea that there was a murder. I like the idea that it's something supernatural as well, and I think it's been a good mix. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. I mean, as I said to Omer as well, as I was saying, if you could find out the truth and we had it there, would you want to know, Omer?
All right. Haunting? No. Because the less I know about it, the more interesting stuff that can come from it. Because like,
don't lie,
I didn't
you'd be
find that.
scared.
But like, you're never gonna get the fear if somebody answered the question for you, are you?
Good point.
So like, the haunting needs to stay a mystery. Have we lost her totally now?
No, she's gone completely.
We did, however, lose Shannon at the very end of this episode. Now, she's not dead. She is still very much alive, just that she had internet connection issues. She is back again on another episode in the next season, so we do want to say thank you so much for Shannon for being on the show. It was fantastic to have you on. You were great and very insightful. Remember, if you have liked this week's episode, to like, comment and subscribe. Me and Omer now have a coffee page as well, and we would love your support to hopefully, on season 3, season 4 possibly, start looking at getting some camera equipment and getting on and doing some proper video quality podcasts for you. But until then, thank you very much, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this intriguing journey through the unknown. We've had a blast exploring mysteries, conspiracies, and the extraordinary with you.
If you've enjoyed our discussion and want to stay updated on our latest episodes, make sure to hit the subscribe button and share the caffeinated love.
And if you've got a conspiracy theory or an unsolved mystery and you'd like us to delve into it, don't hesitate. Drop us a line. We love hearing from you.
Until our next caffeinated adventure, keep sipping on curiosity and remember that sometimes the truth is hidden behind the most unexpected place. This is Omer.
And I'm Glen, signing off from Caffeinated Conspiracies. Cheers, and until next time, take care, and may your curiosity never run dry.